They will tell you that women want love, honesty, and devotion, but Machiavelli knew that human nature does not move by what it says it wants. It moves by what truly drives desire. And when it comes to women, desire is never innocent. Desire is never pure. Desire is never about kindness. It is about power. It is about control. It is about psychology, because when Machiavelli studied rulers, enemies, allies, and crowds, he discovered the same laws that apply in politics, apply in relationships. The same strategies that keep kings on thrones keep men in control of women's minds, and the same weakness that destroys empires destroys men in the games of desire. And this is the forbidden truth you were never supposed to hear, because if you learn it, you stop being manipulated and start manipulating. You stop being the pawn and start becoming the master. You stop begging for affection and start making desire bend to your will. Machiavelli revealed that fear lasts longer than love, and this principle is the key to unlocking a woman's mind, because women may enjoy affection, they may enjoy comfort, but they are consumed by psychology. They are driven by tension, unpredictability, challenge, and mystery. And the moment you remove these things, the moment you flood them with devotion, you kill their desire, because human nature does not crave what is easy. It craves what is scarce. It craves what is difficult. It craves what can be lost. And Machiavelli's dark psychology teaches that if you want to control desire, you must never give it away freely. You must ration it, weaponize it, and control it. You must become the fox who deceives and the lion who intimidates. You must create contrast between presence and absence. You must let her taste attention, but never drown in it. You must let her feel affection, but always leave her hungry, because hunger is power, and when a woman is hungry for you, her mind belongs to you. When she is overfed, her desire dies and her eyes wander. Machiavelli's brilliance is that he stripped away illusions and confronted reality, and reality is that women, like men, are driven by self-interest, by fear of loss, by psychological dominance, by whoever controls the frame, and if you control the frame, you control the game. This is why the man who puts the woman on a pedestal loses her, while the man who makes her fight for his attention wins her. This is why the man who is predictable becomes boring, while the man who is unpredictable becomes irresistible. This is why the man who is weak is abandoned, while the man who is feared is desired. Because fear in relationships does not mean terror. It means tension. It means unpredictability. It means the constant awareness that she could lose you, that she does not fully own you, that you are not completely conquered. And that mystery, that risk, that danger fuels her attraction far more than devotion ever could. Machiavelli's dark psychology teaches that you must never allow yourself to be fully controlled by her emotions, because once she knows she controls you, she loses respect for you, and when respect dies, attraction follows. But when she feels your control, when she knows you can walk away, when she senses your power over yourself, her respect grows, and with respect comes desire. This is why Machiavelli insisted that rulers must choose fear over love, because love is fragile, love is conditional, love is shallow, but fear binds deeper, fear endures longer, and fear is respected more than love. The same principle applies in the psychology of women, because women may say they want a man who is kind, who is loving, who is always available, but their actions prove they chase the man who is strong, who is elusive, who is mysterious, who is feared. Because fear in this sense is not cruelty, it is strength, it is authority, it is the refusal to submit, and that refusal is what creates obsession. Machiavelli's teachings expose that desire is a game of dominance, and if you do not dominate, you will be dominated. If you do not control, you will be controlled. If you do not lead, you will be led. And the man who forgets this is destroyed, not only in politics, but in love, because the woman's mind is wired to test, to probe, to see if you are as strong as you seem, and every time you pass those tests with control, she desires you more. Every time you fail with weakness, she desires you less, and this cycle never ends. It is constant, it is relentless, It is human nature, and Machiavelli's dark psychology gives you the weapon to master it. Machiavelli understood that the essence of power lies not in what is shown, but in what is hidden, and this principle applies with even greater force when it comes to controlling desire, because a woman is not conquered by the surface of what you give her, but by the depth of what you deny her. Her obsession grows not from the things she knows, but from the mysteries she cannot solve, not from the words you speak, but from the silences you leave, not from the attention you shower, but from the attention you withhold. And Machiavelli would say that the man who reveals everything becomes powerless, while the man who reveals nothing controls everything, because in darkness there is curiosity, and curiosity feeds desire. The man who makes her question, who makes her wonder, who makes her chase, becomes unforgettable. And this is the first layer of dark psychology, the creation of scarcity and mystery, because what is rare is valuable, what is abundant is ignored. The woman who thinks she owns you grows careless, but the woman who feels she cannot fully possess you grows addicted. This is why Machiavelli compared rulers to foxes and lions, because the fox deceives with subtlety and the lion enforces with strength, and in desire you must be both. You must create illusions that feed her imagination while maintaining authority that enforces respect. You must let her see glimpses of vulnerability but never weakness. Let her taste intimacy but never fully consume you, because partial fulfillment is more addictive than total satisfaction. Partial victory is more motivating than complete victory, and the mind becomes obsessed not with what it has, but with what it almost has. This is why Machiavelli insisted that the prince must always keep the people in suspense, because certainty breeds indifference, while uncertainty breeds dependence. And in the psychology of women, uncertainty is the ultimate fuel for desire. Give her everything and you lose her. Give her almost everything and she will never stop chasing. But control requires more than mystery. It requires the ability to frame her reality, because whoever frames the story controls the mind, and Machiavelli knew that rulers who shape the narrative shape the people, so too does the man who shapes the emotional narrative of a woman shape her feelings. If you make her feel that your presence is a reward, she will crave it. If you make her feel that your absence is a punishment, she will fear it. If you make her feel that her value increases when you approve and decreases when you withdraw, she will calibrate her behavior to win you. This is not kindness, this is control, and control is what breeds true desire, for desire is never free. It is conditioned, it is directed, it is manipulated. This is why Machiavelli would warn you never to fight on her terms, but always on yours, because once you enter her frame you lose. Once you explain yourself you lose. Once you prove your worth you lose. But when you make her prove her worth to you, you invert the dynamic. You become the prize, and when you are the prize she must chase, she must adapt, she must bend. This is the silent power of Machiavelli's psychology, that control is not loud, it is not begging, it is not force, it is subtle, it is quiet, it is the ability to walk away without fear, the ability to say no without hesitation, the ability to deny her without guilt, because the man who can walk away holds all the power, and women know this intuitively. They test to see if you will break, if you will beg, if you will fold, and the moment you do, you are done. But the moment you do not, you rise, and she becomes the one who bends. Machiavelli would call this the cruelty of necessity, because just as rulers must sometimes act ruthlessly to preserve power, so must men in relationships act with controlled cruelty to preserve respect. You must deny her comfort when comfort would make her complacent. You must refuse her demands when giving in would make her arrogant. You must punish betrayal not with words but with distance, and you must reward loyalty not with submission but with presence, because presence is the true currency. And if you cheapen it, it loses its value. This is why Machiavelli taught that generosity is dangerous, because generosity creates expectation, and expectation turns gifts into obligations. The same principle applies in desire. If you give too freely, she expects more, and what is expected is no longer valued. But if you give sparingly, carefully, intentionally, Each act becomes priceless. Each moment becomes unforgettable. Each gesture becomes addictive. The scarcity makes it powerful, and scarcity is the heart of control. Machiavelli's dark psychology, therefore, is not about cruelty for cruelty's sake. It is about understanding the levers of the human mind and pulling them with precision, knowing when to withdraw, when to appear, when to reward, when to deny, when to reveal, when to conceal. Because the one who times these actions controls the rhythm of desire, and rhythm is everything. Too much attention too quickly kills suspense. Too much absence for too long kills attachment. But the perfect balance creates obsession. Obsession is what kings want from their subjects, and obsession is what you must cultivate in her, because once obsessed, she cannot walk away, she cannot let go, she cannot control herself, but you can, and that control is the ultimate power. Machiavelli understood that the greatest rulers were not the ones who fought with swords alone, but the ones who mastered the invisible battlefield of the mind, and in the realm of desire, this invisible battlefield is where victory or defeat is decided, for a woman is not ruled by the logic of words, but by the gravity of emotions, and whoever controls emotions controls everything. And so the first weapon in Machiavelli's arsenal is not love, but fear, because fear sharpens desire and stabilizes control. When she fears losing you, she clings tighter. When she fears your disappointment, she works harder. When she fears your indifference, she burns more desperately to win you, and Machiavelli knew that love without fear is fragile, but fear without love is permanent. So the wise man blends both, giving just enough warmth to keep her attached, but enough distance to keep her afraid. This is the cruelty of balance, the paradox that strengthens control. For a ruler who is loved may be betrayed, but a ruler who is feared is never ignored. And in relationships this law is absolute. Never let her grow so comfortable that she believes she owns you. Never let her grow so arrogant that she forgets your value. Never let her grow so secure that she tests you without consequences, because when comfort becomes entitlement, power slips away, and Machiavelli warned that the downfall of rulers came not from their enemies but from their own softness, their own weakness, their own need to be adored. And so it is with women, for the man who wants her love more than her respect will always lose both. But the man who demands her respect above all keeps her love in chains. This is why Machiavelli compared power to fire, because fire warms and fire burns, and the hand that holds it must know when to let it glow and when to let it scorch. And in the game of desire, the man must be fire, untouchable yet irresistible, dangerous yet necessary. Because women are not drawn to what is safe, they are drawn to what is strong. They are drawn to what can break them yet chooses not to. They are drawn to what demands submission while offering no apology. And this is why Machiavelli would counsel that cruelty when necessary is mercy in disguise, for by denying her unchecked freedom, you give her structure. By refusing her games, you give her certainty. By punishing her betrayal, you teach her loyalty, and this loyalty is born not of affection but of fear, and fear is stronger than love, because fear does not fade when emotions change. Fear anchors deeper than passion, and so a woman who fears losing you will never stop chasing you, and a woman who respects your power will never dare to replace you, because she knows what she cannot find again. Machiavelli saw the same truth in politics, that the people would rebel against weak rulers they claimed to love, but would obey strong rulers they feared, and this law is timeless. It governs nations, and it governs hearts, and the man who ignores it is doomed to servitude, while the man who applies it becomes untouchable. But control is not only fear, it is also manipulation of belief, because belief is the cage of the mind, and Machiavelli knew that rulers who mastered religion mastered people, not because religion was true, but because belief was powerful, and so too with women. Whoever controls what she believes about herself controls how she behaves with you. If you make her believe she is only valuable when she pleases you, she will fight to please you. If you make her believe that your presence is the ultimate prize, she will guard it desperately. If you make her believe that others envy her for having you, She will cling to you to maintain that status. This is the unseen prison of psychology, the invisible chains that bind without force, and these chains are stronger than iron because she places them on herself, thinking they are her choice, thinking they are her truth. And Machiavelli would say that the greatest trick of power is not to conquer the body, but to conquer the will, because a conquered will never resists. It justifies its own chains, it rationalizes its own submission, it convinces itself that obedience is freedom, and in this way, she becomes her own jailer, while you remain the master. But Machiavelli also knew that no power is permanent unless it is tested, so you must test her loyalty as rulers test their subjects, provoke her jealousy to measure her attachment, deny her desires to measure her patience, threaten absence to measure her desperation, and watch carefully because her reactions reveal more than her words. And once revealed, you exploit the weakness, you reinforce the frame, you intensify the control, because repetition is what turns moments into patterns and patterns into habits, and once her habits revolve around you, her mind belongs to you, her emotions belong to you, her life belongs to you, and she will no longer seek freedom because freedom without you feels like death. This is Machiavelli's ultimate law, that the man who controls the meaning of pleasure and pain controls the entire world of another, and the woman who finds both pleasure and pain in you is a prisoner who calls you king. And this is the essence of dark psychology applied to desire, the ruthless recognition that control is not about cruelty for its own sake, but about using cruelty as a tool, fear as a chain, belief as a weapon, and desire as a cage. Because people, and especially women, do not want freedom. They want direction. They want strength. They want a man who can command them without begging, who can dominate them without apology, who can lead them without hesitation. And Machiavelli knew that this truth, though dark, was eternal. The strong rule, the weak follow, and those who refuse to play this game become slaves of those who do.